welcome back to my reviews of my favorite Transformers cartoon ever, Beast Wars. In today's review, we're taking a look at what is commonly considered the best Transformers episode ever, Code of Hero. In this episode, Dinobot gives everything he has in order to stop the Predacons from wiping out the human race before it has even begun. We begin this episode with Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong! Hey, yo! Look out down below! Here he comes, Banana Slammer!
No, but seriously, this is apparently the valley where humanity began. Or should I say begin, since we're in the past. And these early anthropoids are attacked by a large snake. A snake? Maybe this is actually Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. If so, they really need to find some leaves in order to cover up their naughty bits. Back at the Axalon, Dinobot prepares to commit Harikiri, or seppuku, or basically ritual suicide. I'm not sure why Dinobot has chosen to go down this route. Perhaps he feels hopeless and unable to change his destiny without the golden discs. Or maybe he feels he's lost his honor by betraying the Maximals and giving the Voyager golden disc to Megatron. Whatever his reasons, he ultimately decides not to go through with it. Although I will point out that in his room we can spot the hide of his clone stretched out on the wall as a decoration. Kind of an additional level of darkness to this already grim scene. In the command center, Rhinox determines that Cybertron will soon be able to detect the transwarp wave and calculate when and where they are, meaning that rescue is coming soon, not to mention foreshadowing this season's finale. But Megatron has likely determined the same thing. To make matters worse for Dinobot, Rat Trap digs at him for switching sides and giving Megatron the golden disc a couple episodes ago.
Go ahead, Roland. Push it one more inch.
That is what she said.
You know, I used to figure I had you pegged.
That is what she said.
Guess we live and learn.
You hear me?
Destiny has one great test in store for us all. Is mine already come? And have I failed it?
At the Valley, Megatron tests his hypothesis.
This disc contains images recorded in the future. One future, anyway.
Great Scott!
Yes. Yes. Oh, my crazed crustacean. Do you realize what this means? According to this disc, the human race is destined to emerge from this valley. Humans. Thanks to their interference, the Autobots defeated the Decepticons, and thus it is the Maximals which rule us.
Megatron is obviously referencing the Autobots' human companions, such as Spike, Sparkplug, Carly, and Chip Chase, as well as probably more like Marissa Fairborn from the Earth Defense Command and countless other human allies.
Destroy this valley and everything in it. The human race will never have existed.
The future is not fixed.
The future's not set. There's no fate but what we make for ourselves.
I am a warrior. Let the battle be joined.
So, Dinobot heroically and impressively takes on the entire Predacon forces, battling until it's just him and Megatron, who he manages to defeat with just a rock and a stick.
Oh, really, Dinobot? A stick? Against a transmetal? I think not.
Seriously, I hope that you all watch this episode for yourself before watching this review, because this scene, not to mention this episode as a whole, is just epic. And as much as I'd love to just play the whole episode for you, I'm pretty sure I'd just get copyright claimed instantly if I did that. So Dinobot destroys the golden disc and collapses from his injuries just as the other Maximals arrive to chase off Megatron.
So close! I was so close!
The other Maximals join Dinobot at his side in his last moments. And even he still has it in him to make a wisecrack at his buddy Rat Trap's expense.
But it's nice to know where you stand. Upwind of you for preference, Vermin.
I wish I could put Dinobot's whole speech in here, but again, I would definitely get copyright claimed if I did.
The rest is silence.
And so, the other Maximals bear witness as Dinobot Spark joins the Matrix.
He lived a warrior and died a hero. Let his spark join the Matrix, the greatest of Cybertron.
Aww, I promised myself I wouldn't cry. Unfortunately, this scene where Dinobot is essentially cremated, I guess, is marred by one weird and very obvious animation error. Because, as we can see, Rat Trap at the console is shown in his original body rather than his current Transmetal one. How they missed this, or how they messed this up in the first place, is beyond me. It's a shame that Mainframe no longer has the working files for Beast Wars or any of their older shows. Because if they were to fix one animation error in this whole show, I would pick this one as it distracts and detracts from an otherwise stellar episode. Although, if Mainframe did still have the working files for Beast Wars, I would love to see an HD remaster of the entire series. But sadly, that will never happen. And finally, this episode ends with the anthropoids demonstrating that they've learned from Dinobot's example. As we see, one of them uses Dinobot's improvised hammer to crack open a coconut and whack that big mean snake from the beginning of the episode. So I guess this means that not only does the human race owe its existence to Dinobot, but also its evolution as well. Well, that was Code of Hero. Probably the best episode of Beast Wars. Maybe the best episode of all of Transformers. First of all, it completes Dinobot's journey. He started off only allying himself with the Maximals in order to defeat Megatron. But as the series went on, he proved himself time and again to be part of the team, ultimately sacrificing himself for a faction that he wasn't originally part of. The writing, animation, music, and voice acting in this episode were all on point. Well, except for that one error near the end. But overall, this episode proves that Beast Wars is a great series. One thing that I never thought of, but that the wiki points out, is that if Megatron did succeed in wiping out the human race, then the Voyager disc that he's holding would never exist as well. Meaning the entirety of Beast Wars would be undone. So, was Megatron always destined to lose this battle? Thus keeping reality, at least for now, relatively the same. Or are we working on some kind of Avengers Endgame style logic here, where basically whatever helps the narrative is how time travel works?
Time travel!
Like I mentioned, this episode is commonly considered one of the best in all of Transformers. So much so that the recent War for Cybertron Kingdom series tried to essentially recreate this episode as best it could, despite not really having the same history and weight behind the characters that Beast Wars obviously does. While it is a prettier looking show, Kingdom certainly does not have the same depth and heart that Beast Wars does. The closest episode to this I can think of is probably Cramp in Transformers Armada, where Starscream sacrifices himself in order to bring a ceasefire to the war between the Autobots and Decepticons, so that they can join forces and defeat their common enemy, Unicron. It should be no surprise that Armada Starscream has a lot in common with Dinobot, a proud warrior who switches sides, has a beef with Megatron, but ultimately sacrifices himself for the greater good. If anything, this Starscream has more in common with Dinobot than he does G1 Starscream. That's probably why I love him so much. and why he's easily my favorite version of Starscream. But we'll talk more about him in my Armada reviews. Well, what about you? What did you think of this episode of Beast Wars? Let me know down in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, and do all that other fun stuff. And I'll see you here next time for the next episode, Transmutate. Quite the shift in tone from this episode. So I'll see you back here next time for that.